Achievements, trophies, digital pats on the back, whatever you want to call them, they've bullied their way into gaming forever. Before Microsoft had the brilliant idea of adding achievements into games, the only real way to show off your gaming prowess was with photos of your old tube TV, which you'd have to wait for the film to develop, and by the time that you can bring the photo to school to achieve bragging rights at the nerd table, that rat bastard Joey Desinfants is sitting there bragging about how he stayed up all night and getting 104 million points in Missile Command. But you're pretty sure that that's not even possible, but you can't prove it, and he doesn't have the photo, but everyone believes him for some reason, and your photo of 200,000 points looks pitiful. Years later, you'll look back and realize a few things about Joey that you never noticed before. First, he never came back with your X-Wing and Millennium Falcon after he said he needed them for his aunt's barbecue, and that 104 million points in Missile Command is actually impossible. But all you can do about that now is sulk because Joey moved to Florida in high school and because your son can beat you in Missile Command, and he really can't look you in the eyes due to the disdain he has for you because you let the goddamn Millennium Falcon get away. That was my birthright! High scores and completion screens for the longest time were the only mark of achievement in video games. Showcasing your victories was more of a lunchroom folklore. Hey, did you hear Kevin can beat Mario in a single afternoon without losing a life? The only person I know that can beat ghosts and goblins is Stacy, but that's because she broke her leg and then caught the flu the next week, so her parents let her skip a whole month of school. Tales tall and small passed down from person to person, all befit of preservation in the halls of Gamer Valhalla. There were some physical achievements that you could get from, say, getting a high score in an Activision Atari game where they would send you a patch for large high scores. And you know, I'm not gonna lie here, these look pretty awesome. Boo 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 boo. Oh, this just in. Evan tells me that these patches were used as a plot device in the follow-up book to Ready Player One. Wait, I'm getting word from our producers. Yep. My producers have informed me that no one gives a shit. Later in 1996, MSN would create MSN Game Zone. Now, I don't know a whole lot of MSN's old services as far as instant chat clients and proto-social media platforms go. I was more of a MySpace guy. MSN Game Zone had all the functionality of a normal MSN instant messenger service, with the added bonus of allowing you to showcase digital badges for doing certain things in specific games. This encouraged discussion with folks on the site and was a great way for gamers to meet. So it's 2005, you're feeling alive, and Xbox has just integrated achievements seamlessly into their new system. But they're not just any achievements, they're weighted achievements. These achievements would total up to your gamer score, a sort of meta high score, if you will. No longer did you have to take a Polaroid picture of the TV, you could now just search your friend's gamer score up. And now, Joey Desinfants can't fucking lie about his high scores and steal your father's Millennium Falcon. When the 360 released, the Xbox achievements were such a hit with playtesters and fans alike that it became a real selling point for the console. Steam would implement their achievement system around 2007, with PlayStation following suit around 2008, leaving most of their early catalog trophy lists. Well, I guess I won't be needing these. Nintendo would never really buy into this craze, and I can't say I blame them. Achievements don't really fit with their branding or how they want their games to feel. See, what achievement scores do is unify your entire gaming experience with a singular platform. If you really like them, then they lock you into a singular console. For example, I'm really invested in trophies. Those don't port over to Xbox or Steam, so why would I buy an Xbox One? Or any variation on that sentiment. But on top of that, achievements link your gaming experience together. So instead of focusing on one singular game, people are playing games in sort of a meta-contextual sense, which is cool, but to go back to Nintendo for a minute, that's not something that gels with their ideals, because the Mario makers like to keep your focus in the game. You dive into a Nintendo title with no side notions or distractions. It's gaming for gaming's sake, which is cool and what most players do. with or without achievements. But we're not here to get passé about my digital pressed penny collection. I want to scream my love for these bad boys. I want to geek out and show you my Thunder Mountain penny that's right next to the one that Kratos got me from Mount Olympus. Allow me to use my degree in media studies for one moment and discuss something that I've been dying to talk about on this channel for a while. Bartle's taxonomy is a study that looks into player preference and how they'll react in a given situation. This is one of the first studies conducted about player psychology. Big Dick Bortle sought out to define player characteristics, organize said players, and figure out how to best consider design philosophies with those player types in mind. Bartle analyzed data on this topic for over 16 years before releasing his findings in 1996, which is why it's so foundational not only to game design as a whole, but a key component to why achievements work. Bartle grouped the players he studied into 4 primary groups. In his papers, he refers to them as card suits, but they've since been given more fitting names. First, you have the explorers, who tend to focus on, well, doing just that, creating one's own adventure using the mechanics not as a tool for forward momentum, but rather as a method for them to find their own path. These folks love to color in the map in games like GTA, or are usually the first people to find an Easter egg or secret level naturally with no online source. Next are the socializers, and you know one of these folks when you've met them. They're what communities are built on. This category also has aspects that translate to real-world things. Socializers are the folks starting guilds, moderating forum posts, and hosting servers. A lot of these folks also happen to be high-ranking players, which makes it easier for them to bring up new players and let them grow and enjoy the game. Thanks to these players, I've actually gotten pretty good at Payday 2. I don't know if I've mentioned that or not. Third are killers, and well, there's no sugarcoating it. These players are assholes. They're here to piss you off. They want dominance. Think of anyone with a red dot in GTA Online, or those 12-year-old hackers that got into the Modern Warfare 2 lobby and are spouting demon shit, and cheaters in general. Finally, we have the achievers. Wow, shocker, there's a whole class dedicated to the topic at hand? I wonder why Dakota wanted to talk about this so bad. These are the players whose sole goal is maxing stats, perfecting their mechanical skill, and 100%ing the game. These are the people who work within the confines of the game to master it, and achievements are the best way to appease these players. I mean, a percentage bar is good, or a new game plus mode would suffice, but come on. But we can't forget the metagame that is achievement scores, trophy levels, and whatever the hell this braggadocious bar is on Steam. With the birth of the secondary metagame, we see achievers slowly integrate aspects of the Socializers class. And with this is born a diverse player experience. Not only are you acting and interacting with the world, you're also doing that with players as well, thus giving you a different kind of immersive experience, one where your immersion isn't just in the game, but rather in the experience of gaming, a unique form of play that I love. But admittedly, I'm fairly new to collecting achievements. For the most part, I haven't dove into the social aspect of trophy hunting. While most of my scores across PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam aren't too bad, they aren't the mark of a high-tier player, so I've recruited some help for this episode.
Well, that would be an interesting conversation with a banker.
Well, it's not hentai. It might as well be hentai, I guess.
I don't think there's anything I'm really embarrassed about.
I've interviewed this stunning collection of trophy hunters in hopes of learning more about this metagame. Also, sorry I don't have any Xbox achievement experts. I just don't know anyone personally who's playing the Xbox One and are also a figurehead in the achievement community. Well, I guess I do live down the street from the achievement hunter offices, and I did say hi to Jeff in the park once, so you know what? That counts as an interview. Achievements come in all shapes and sizes. Some are easy and you get them for just booting up the game. Some are based on story beats, while others are tied to multiplayer. There is a certain utility that trophies provide. Asking players to change up their playstyle is not an easy task, but one that trophies circumnavigate almost flawlessly. Back to Bartle for a minute. If you fall into the Achiever class, then your playstyle tends to stagnate. You play the games by the rules in order to get number 1 in the class, past, and while you get honor rolled 10 times out of 10, it doesn't push the player to say, do any adventuring or go off the beaten path. But with the implementation of achievements, it forces the player to go outside of their comfort zone and play the game a few different ways, getting different experiences each time.
I think the one I like the most is when the game like makes you play on the hardest difficulty. It tries its best to make you learn the game. Like, I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Remake at the moment. I didn't have to learn the game until I had to play it through on hard. Like, before you could just like spam square, do whatever you want, but now like you actually have to learn what the bosses do, how to actually fight, and I think it's a lot cooler. Like when they give you the incentive to learn the game. A lot of games don't do that.
I like skill-based ones. I'm not a fan of grindy stuff, but I like stuff that challenge you. Time trial stuff is cool when you got to complete something in a certain amount of time.
So this isn't actually on my Steam at all. It's on my old Xbox 360. It's completing Halo Reach on legendary difficulty alone. Quite a challenge. I can remember completing, I think it's Nightfall, the sniper one, when the mission complete screen came up and it said 2 hours 31 for completion time. I cried a little bit on the inside.
One of my favorite achievements is the one free bullet achievement in Half-Life 2 Episode 1. You can use your gun only once to shoot off a lock. The rest of the game you have to use your crowbar and get really crafty with the gravity gun. This allowed me to experience Half-Life like I never have. My typical playstyle would dictate that I'd use the gun that has the most ammo, but instead I had to think outside the box, struggle, and honestly, whenever I saw a horde of enemies draw near, I got nervous. That is my mark of what a good achievement is. One that pushes me to have an experience that I wouldn't have chose to have on my own. Trophies also lead folks to play games that they otherwise wouldn't have considered playing.
There's an MMO called Free Realms. It looks really bad when you look it up, and the servers were closing, and I think 2 weeks before it closed, I decided to go after the platinum. So I grinded pretty much non-stop on this stupid cartoony MMO, and by the end of it, I actually kind of enjoyed it. And then I was kind of sad that it shut down.
Oh, that is a tragic story. Oh my
I got the platinum
God.
at least, but
Oh.
it's a game I would never pick up if I just looked at it and saw what it was.
I guess like if I like a game, like the studio which I said before, they ported a game called what was it? I Am the Hero, I think, which is like a 2D fighting side scroller, it's like it only takes an hour to plat, but it's actually a lot of fun. I don't usually delve into like 2D side scrolling fighters. It's kind of like Scott Pilgrim. Like I don't usually play games like that. Like I usually stray away from like that kind of 2D combat.
That's a few of them, because I remember playing a lot of free games and being genuinely impressed by how well they were made. So there was one game, Sprout, I downloaded solely with the intention of completing all the achievements as quickly as possible, but very quickly I turned off the guide and just played it at my own pace.
That note about free games utilizing achievements is important. Any way for indie developers to get their art noticed is a good one in my book. It boosts their portfolio with large download numbers, and word of mouth solidifies it in circles of achievement fans. But there is a dark side to this very same notion. While achievements can be used to promote indie titles, they can also be used to make a quick buck. While Steam has been inundated with garbage games that use the achievement system and the online Steam trading card system to sell their game, the major consoles had been steadfast in their quality control. This issue, I assumed, would stay on Steam as their policies are, to say laissez-faire would be generous, but Sony dropping the ball seems a bit strange.
Yeah, I remember when Sony dropped the ball on that. I remember back when the Mega Man collection came out, people complaining that it didn't have a platinum, and the devs said that Sony had certain requirements for them to get a platinum, so they could only have 100%. Right after that game came out, Goat Simulator came out, and that could be completed within an hour or something, and it had a platinum, and everything after that had a platinum pretty much if they wanted to. So around that time, but you can have a 20-minute game and it can have a platinum. People are making little puzzle games where you can just get a platinum in a few minutes. I think in recent years it's been kind of diminished where you can get platinums really easily, and when you get those kind of platinums in your own profile, it kind of diminishes your own profile in a way.
Now, I'm not talking about good games with easy achievements. I'm talking about games built with slightly altered Unity assets. The kind of game that a 13-year-old could shit out after discovering Unity for the first time. Yeah, I spent $4 on Orc Slayer for trophies and research purposes. Mostly for research. Now, I don't usually put budget like that into these videos, so if you could just like take out a $5 and throw it at your computer screen, film that and tweet it to us on Twitter, that would really help mitigate my self-loathing for this purchase. Don't actually send us money, just keep that $5 bill in your pocket as a symbol that you didn't waste it on Orc Slayer. Alright, fine. I also bought My Name is Mayo, a game where you click on a mayo jar 10,000 times. It's an easy plat and it's only $1 and it's kind of self-aware. It's actually kind of funny, so I'm not gonna consider that one a total waste. Fun fact, before shovelware was a big issue, the most frowned upon platinum trophy to have in your collection was the Hannah Montana game for PS3. Even more fun fact, that game's damn near impossible to find. And no, I'm not buying it on Amazon. I don't need that in my purchase history. The strangest thing to me is that Xbox doesn't seem to have this issue, and while that might be due to a number of issues, it doesn't help that the die-hard Sony fans are very much worried for the sanctity of their trophies. Now, I don't think that achievements will ever hit the same fever pitch that they did in the late 2000s and early 2010s, but I do think that they're here to stay. There are too many players whose preferred gameplay experience heavily involves achievements. There are too many dedicated communities formed around discussing, helping, and just loving them. At the end of the day, achievements are just an extra layer of fun. They're there if you want them, and they don't do anything if you don't want them. And in a cute twist of fate, now even Atari games have trophies, so I don't have to point the Polaroid at the TV. Now my dad can just come over and help me earn some trophies together. That is, right after he brings me a goddamn Millennium Falcon that he clearly owes me. Huge thanks to my friends for helping me out with this episode. I learned so much. If you're a trophy hunter, check out Rob Thanatos and Pelzio on Twitch. Their links are in the descriptions. D2 doesn't have anything to plug, but he'll be making a return in a future video where I dive into free Steam games. So stay tuned for that and stay safe out there, everybody.